Speak now to the director of Keele Observatory, Jacco van Loon, who joins us from Keele in the UK. Welcome to the News Hour. Ooh, this happened 60 years ago. How significant was that trip, the first man to go into space?
Yes, I mean, it was a completely different time. I mean, I wasn't born. Now we still look at launches and we get nervous. Shall it all go well according to plan? But then, I mean, we didn't have computers. We didn't have mobile phones. We just were recovering from a big world war. And yet they stick somebody on top of a rocket and shoot them into space. It's amazing that it actually went well. Of course, they had first shot animals into space just to see what it was like. And the first dog that was sent into space, also by the Russians, did survive the launch and some time in space. So they knew that it was possible. But one thing is knowing it's possible, and the other is doing it. So yes, of course, extremely exciting at the time, something that no one had ever done before. And it was really like leaving the Earth for the first time as a human species. It would open the doors to all sort of things. And people started speculating, like maybe in 30, 40 years, we would all be living in space colonies and all that. Well, that didn't happen, of course.
No. And now it happened 60 years ago. That's quite a long time ago. Would you say that progress since then has been slow? And what does the future look like? Is it bright?
Progress has been slower than some people may have wished. There are various reasons for that. First, it went very fast. Only 4 years after the first satellite in orbit, Yuri Gagarin was the first person. 2 years after that, they launched the first woman into space, and 2 years after that, the first cosmonaut went actually on a spacewalk. So it went very fast, and of course, there was the race to the moon. But then after that, it slowed down a little bit. There were other pressures, and the whole program slowed down a lot until recently, when private enterprise joins, and now it's actually gaining some momentum again. So we're all getting excited, going back to the moon, maybe going to Mars, and mostly because there's this commercial interest, and that makes things possible. That's before it had to be political will.
And Jacco, at that point, as more and more countries, companies go into space, how safe will it be up there? And can we prevent conflict up there and between all those players?
Well, yeah, two very important questions, of course. Space travel is still dangerous. Over the years, not that many astronauts have died, but the fraction of people that have died is much larger than when you go on board a normal airplane, of course. But when you talked about technology, actually the Russians are still using technology that is essentially similar to what they used in the 1960s. Of course, they have improved things a little bit. The Americans have experimented more with different launch vehicles, like the space shuttle, for instance, which initially was a success, but then there were some weaknesses, and they've abandoned that again. So yeah, we'll see what the next, you see here, what SpaceX is doing, returning spaceships. And this is a major new thing to do when you go to Mars and want to come back from it.
Absolutely, very exciting. Jacco van Loon, thank you so much for speaking to us today. Always a pleasure.